Hi, in this video I will talk to you about imitation. When you imitate somebody, I once heard that imitation is the highest compliment you could give to a person. For instance, many martial artists imitate Bruce Lee. I used to practice Tai Chi Chuan with a Sifu, a teacher, and I used to imitate his movements that were very graceful and elegant. I loved it. And now I teach my son Tai Chi Chuan, and my son, well, when we spar, we imitate each other. Or what's the situation that happens now? We both end up punching each other, or he can even predict. He says kick, boop, and he's ready for my kick before I kick. Also, I do practice slowly with him so that I do not hurt him. I am very grateful to my teacher, Sifu Steve Wong in Miami, because he never hurt me. He never hurt me. And then now I taught my son in a different way. For instance, when he was 2 years old or 3 years old, I began to poke him in the eye like this, just pretend, and I taught him to swat like this with the other hand. And from then I began to do pit punch, and he would just wave, wave, wave. I taught him that way instead of the traditional push hands where you push me and I push back, and you push me and I push back. Now I'm going back to it because I want him to get better. So he needs to understand the circles and yielding, pulling, pushing. The little, I'll say, invisible parts of Tai Chi Chuan. Like, don't punch when you're falling, but regain your structure, regain your balance. So when we imitate someone, we're paying them a compliment. I'm talking about imitating them in a good way, not making fun of the way they speak or the way they walk or talk or things that they do. For instance, I heard one of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I heard one of them say that years ago, the world champion could have been a guy that walked off the street that just practiced 1 hour a day. But now it's so athletic that there's no way that guy that practices only 1 hour a day is going to be the champion. It has to be the guy that, I don't remember how many hours he said, but maybe puts in 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day practicing his art, his ability to win championship matches, right? Now, I don't participate in any of these matches. One, they cost money. Two, I ran into a dad at the park, and his kid was gonna fall down, a girl from the monkey bars, and she said, "Daddy!" And when I looked, that dad was already over there. I mean, he was quick. All right, he was a quick runner. At least he jumped over one of the parts of the slides, and he got there real quick to pick to. Of course, he was younger than me, but still, even when I was younger, well, I didn't have kids when I was younger. Well, either way, this guy is fast. And before that, he had been telling me how he had gotten into the martial arts, and he had gone to the big city to spar to win matches so that he could compete. And he was in shock that, well, it wasn't that he wasn't any good. He said it was that The guys he was fighting were over 6 feet tall, and he was smaller. He was maybe 5'7". I'm not sure how tall he was, but he was shorter than me, and I'm 5'10". And he said that the weight division that he was in, he was surprised to see these tall guys, and they hurt him. These tall guys that he had to spar against, they really did hurt him. One of them gave him a knee to the forehead. And he said that he went to the hospital because they had. I mean, that's a bit too intense. I didn't tell him, but I'll tell you, if you're a dad, don't compete. Don't compete with any of these guys. You could practice, put pads on and so on, because you're a dad now. You gotta protect your nose so that you don't die on your kid. Yes, be in shape. However, it's just too dangerous to compete. I wrote a response in a video about a video, and I mentioned how I sparred about 2 years ago with a young 20-year-old, and quickly he gave me a combination which I recognized from karate. It was punch, punch, kick, and he connected. My son says he connected all 3 times, but I only felt 2 connections. One was one punch here and the kick to the stomach. I felt that, but I didn't feel the 3rd punch, which he said was to my other side of the chest or something. And that's when we first got started. So like automatically I was outclassed. This kid was too fast for me. I didn't block any of them. And then I did attack him for the 2nd round, and I used my Wing Chun chain link punches, which I picked up from a YouTube video, and he was not prepared for this. But I did slappy hands, not punching. I did like this, and one time I touched his nose, and the rest of the time I could not catch him. He didn't circle. He went straight back like a block away, and then he somehow circled back towards the house. And by the time we got to the house, like I was too sweaty and I couldn't continue. So I was breathing, and we had stopped. And then we started with the 3rd round, which not really round, but we started with the 3rd one because he wanted, again, this time he was awake. This time he was not going to get caught off guard like in the 2nd time. And so what happened was I took 1 step toward him, and he crashed into his own car and fell on the floor. And his hand slipped on the pavement, and he cut his hand. So I went to get some ice cubes for his hands, and that was the end of that. I had told him let's spar on the grass at the park, but he had said he had no time. He had to go to work. So that was that. So when you imitate someone, imitate an honor student, right? The one that studies, and we imitate the best students. The Singapore math, I heard, was invented in the United States, really. And what the Singapore teachers did was they found the best teachers in the United States and copied their techniques and improved their students' math skills, and now the world knows it as Singapore math, which is they have a routine of techniques. It's a system for teaching math skills. One of the Singapore techniques math is just subtracting one number. For instance, 3,999 minus any number, right? Instead of borrowing, oh no, it was the other one, 4,000 minus 7777, right? 4,000 minus 3 sevens. Well, you gotta borrow and borrow and borrow from the zeros. Instead of doing that, instead of borrowing from the zeros, just subtract 1 from 4,000 and 1 from the 777, and you get to the right answer. Hi, girl. You want to go outside? Yeah, you do. All right. Look into Singapore math. Take care of yourself. Bye.